My name is Tensan Chuck Ramey. Um, and I would like to just say a couple of things before I begin uh, this talk. Um, I want to express gratitude and thanks to Roshi and Shinko and Hodrasan, Tashin, Koten, Carol, Tokan, Coco, all of the people who hold this place. And also gratitude to our Sangha members who support Sonoma Mountain. Um, without the Sangha, there would be no Genjoji. Um, we live in a time when it feels like place is lost. Kind of a placelessness, it seems to me. In the time of algorithms and instantaneous remote communication, place loses its sense almost, its meaning. So this place is very special. It's very special to me. I want to express gratitude for simply having the privilege to do this practice. Just the fact that I can do it. There are millions of people on the planet they're just trying to find, clean water and feed their family. So it's a privilege to be able to do it. Another thing is, I don't claim to be able to tell any truth, any special truth. I have no magic, you know. So I just want to be clear, and I'm not a teacher. And then finally, I would say that preparing these talks is never easy for me. It's always difficult because I always have to take a hard look at myself, and kind of with open eyes, whether I like it or not, And so it's a process. It's a process. Um, Roshi Roshi has been my teacher for 25 years. I first came here 25 years ago. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I want to say that in the coming, as the summer moves into fall, we're going to complete construction of a mountain gate, the San Mountain Gate. That will be the entrance to the new Zendo that will eventually be built. This gate represents our commitment to the future of this deeply rooted practice that is dug in on this mountain. It is a commitment to this, quite honestly, ancient understanding and way of life, and Hiroshi's mandala vision. This gate is unique in the West. It will be the only one like it in North America when it's finished. And it announces honestly, the living presence of the Dharma and the life of Zazen on Sonoma Mountain. This mountain gate is designed by master temple builder Paul Disco, who was a student of Suzuki Roshi, a master temple builder, and the craftsman, Lucas, who's going to build it, was his student. The gate is a triple gate. It has 12 huge pillars, big cedar pillars that are arranged in 3 rows of 4 each. It's a triple gate, and the first gate that you enter is the gate of emptiness. The gate of no self, the gate of impermanence. Suzuki Roshi once said that you have to go through the gate of emptiness. So, in other words, have the experience that nothing has a separate self. The second gate, and this one has been fascinating to me when these were first explained to me by Hojo-san, is the gate of signlessness. This is the gate of no form, right? It is the gate in which in your experience, you come to an understanding, a realization that when you name something, you separate from it. That when you objectify anything, you're separating yourself from it. What's a good way to explain this? What happens is we name everything, and as a result, we fail to understand that these things have no inherent self-existence. I once heard Thich Nhat Hanh explain this with a piece of paper. Do you see the sunlight? He said. Do you see the tree? You know? Do you see the logger? Do you see the log truck? Do you see the mill workers? All those things are this paper. Infinitely. And so this this gate of this second gate of signlessness. The third gate is the gate of non-constructedness. Non-constructedness, what the heck is that? This is the gate of no goal. Having no goal. To refrain from constructing the ego and let go. No goal. And I've been practicing for a long time, and it's not easy to let go of that. It really isn't. Hojo-san said that the Sanman is an invitation into the very heart of the self. This gate. And I think it's fair to say it's an invitation into a way of life that can be free from greed, anger, and ignorance that leads us to fear and suffering. Why gates, right? Why a gate? Why this gate, In Buddhist iconography and in literature, there are kind of gates all over the place, And, I think there's one version of the four vows, and the third vow is, how does it go? Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. There's also the gateless barrier, the gateless gate, the translations of the Mumakan, the 48 koans that date from the 13th century. For 25 years, as I said, I've been coming here and have been a member of the Sangha, and Roshi has been my teacher, and now Hojo-san and Kashin carry on this wonderful tradition in this family temple, which is unique also in the West. Now at the age of 76, I've come to realize that all those years ago when I first came here, I don't think I consciously understood what I was doing. I really don't. I'm not sure I understood anything at the time. I was just confused, very confused, and maybe I am still today. But I remember that in the first time I went to Dokusan, those of you who are totally new to this, Dokusan is a sort of a formal interview with the Roshi sitting on the cushion, very intimate. And I had been sitting more than in my life I'd ever sat on a cushion. I was in such pain. It was just killing me, And I went in and I'm sitting there and I didn't know what to say. And Roshi said, well, you can ask me a question. And I said, well, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And he said, you chose it. You made a choice. At that time, there was no physical gate. There wasn't a gate I walked through to come here. But there was a gate that was opened for me by Roshi, by the Kwang family, by the residents here, and this Sangha opened this gate for me. Well, I started to think about these gates in terms of what am I going to say today, you know? There are, uh, you know, if you think about your life, you could point, all of us could probably point to all kinds of things in our life that were a gate we went through. You know, a gate that we, uh, consciously or not, made a choice. And I'll just relate some of my own experience. I forgot to say that, like I said, I don't have any truth to give you. Maybe what my own life experience can be of some value to you in your journey, you know. In 2002, um, I had been practicing here for maybe a year and a half. And I had the opportunity to go to Tibet on a pilgrimage for 5 weeks. It was an experience of a lifetime. Absolutely. And before I left, Roshi and Dokusan put this red string around my neck. And I thought, you know, that's really weird. What's he doing? You know, he's put this red string. And he said, this is to protect you from yourself. And oh man, you know. So during that 5 weeks, on this pilgrimage, we trekked and circumambulated Mount Kailash in Tibet. And the gate I want to tell you about is at 18,000 feet. It's called the Dormala Pass. And we were on this pilgrimage route around the mountain. This is the highest point you can go to. And then we're on a trail with little kids and grandmas and grandpas and all of these Tibetan pilgrims that are maybe only doing this one time in their life around this sacred mountain. The Dormala Pass has got 1.5 feet of snow on it. And there's an acre of prayer flags. On my way, and I'm just carrying like a day pack, you know, and it was 18,000 feet. I was really struggling, you know. And there was a elderly grandmother in front of me with a cane. And she heard me, you know, and she stepped off the trail and turned around and offered me the cane. You know, you can have the cane. That was a gate. Another thing I witnessed on this on this pilgrimage when we're going around this mountain, and also in the city of Lhasa at the Jokung Temple, was pilgrims, Tibetan pilgrims doing this in prostration. Have leather pads on your knees and on their elbows. And they take 2 steps and prostrate, 2 steps and prostrate all day. And I was humbled, you know. I thought, what? What am I experiencing? That was a gate. Upon return from, when I came back from there, Roshi invited me to take Jukai, and I did that. I made that decision, and that was another gate. And then And in 2014, he invited me to become an ordained lay priest, and um, I asked Kojo-san at the time, "What is this?" I said, I can't leave my family. I'm not going to, and he said, "You're an example." And I went through ordination with Cashin. And the funny story was that my ego had taken over, of course, long before that began. And I was, as my doctor later told me, he said, "Well, Chuck, you were playing a young man's game." So the day I was supposed to fly here from Seattle, I live in Tacoma, Washington. I was playing basketball and I tore my right quadricep muscle. So I hobbled through through the ceremony, But again, that's a gate, right? That's a gate. It's a learning, all of it. My wife of 56 years, Karen, we now have two grandchildren and three. I'm sorry, I had three grandchildren and I have two great grandchildren. So great grandchildren, that's a gate that will wake you up. It's like, okay, there's something really happening here. And then for the last 8 years, my wife, Karen, has had many health issues. And she has a managed but progressive lung disease, it's autoimmune disease, and a number of other issues. And I think it's fair to say that life, as you get older, those of us who are in that group in this room will acknowledge that it's kind of a dangerous thing. It's like, and so the experience of being a caregiver a lot of the time, and it's been a teaching, it's been a gate. And last summer, my son experienced possibly some heart problems and chest pain, and I had a pretty dramatic reaction, emotional reaction. I mean, it was a big emotional reaction. And I think, and that coupled with other things that Roshi had observed in me, he kind of swatted me, He said to me, you have compartmentalized and separated your practice from your life. And it took me, it didn't take very long for me to see what he was saying. Because of my many challenges in my life that life had presented to me in the last year, I sort of let go of my sitting practice. And I became inconsistent, not only just inconsistent, but I just sort of abandoned a lot of it. And I've come to see that, that's a natural thing to happen to people. That will happen. And I remember at the time I was, writing in a journal a little bit, and I wrote to myself, I think I'm the most unhappy when I'm where I don't want to be. I'm the most unhappy when I'm in a place where I don't want to be. And as a result, I became, confused and frustrated. um, even angry with the circumstances in my life, you know, struggling. Even as much as I love my wife, I felt the resentment, you know, at all these tasks. And the truth is, for me, I didn't want to face the reality, and it was my own greed that had brought me there. And in the teaching, in the Dharma, greed, you think of greed as possessiveness, right? That's, I want to keep these things, but it is also pushing away the things I don't want. Push it away, And so it's like, and I had rationalized, it's okay, I can control this. I'm in control of this stuff, and my demeanor became such that I think Roshi, he realized that I was chasing my own deceptions. If you follow me, like just and actually, to be honest with you, at times I was almost pretentious, But anyway, just another human being trying to make it, I'm just trying to get through it. Then my wife, who has a lot of wisdom, she said, you need to go sit. It's kind of like, she didn't say it, but she might as well have said, I can't take this anymore, you better go sit. So I just would like to read in this context a couple of things from Roshi's, from Roshi. This is the book Mind Sky, and this is just a couple of quick things from a talk that he calls the spirit of practice. How do you bring forth and maintain this kind of spirit in your own practices, this spirit of practice, in your own everyday life? This is very important. You sit over and over. You do sessions over and over. And he says, you may become, it may become automatic to you. You may just do it, But your practice can become dead, can become a dead form. That's what he said. And you drift away from it and go on about, You're not awake. Also, and I thought this was really great, Zen may be one of the only spiritual disciplines to emphasize so strongly that all activities be done with deep awareness. Zen in cooking, Zen in arts, Zen in athletics, Zen in daily work. Whatever you do, wherever you are, is practice. Pay attention. And I thought it was very interesting because I recently heard the poet Jane Hirschfield, in response to a question she was asked, because she was a student at, she's a Soto Zen practitioner, has been her adult life, and she was asked in an interview if she could explain her practice in 7 words. And she said, okay, everything changes. Everything is connected. Pay attention. Pay attention. And, the paying attention is the challenge. It's the work. And certainly for me. So, this like the most basic teaching of Suzuki Roshi, every moment you are a beginner. Every moment. And just when I thought, okay, I've gone through all these gates now, and then I had another gate yesterday that opened. And it taught me that because I go through the gate, doesn't mean there's not another gate. There's always going to be another gate. And this gate yesterday was, I have a lifelong elderly friend, a widow who is 86 years old. And when I come down from Tacoma, I go to Oakland and stay with her for a night or two and visit with her. And I had all my plans put together for my life to come here and everything. And she got out of bed yesterday morning and fell and broke her hip. So I was at the Kaiser Medical Center most of the day yesterday with her. And I think she had surgery today, or it will be last night or today. There you go. I mean, you cannot predict what's going to happen in life. And I've always wanted to predict. I've always wanted to have predictability. I've always wanted it to be certain. If I could just have it be, what's the term? Under control, always under control. So this brought me to a fascicle or a teaching of in the Shobogenzo, Dogen Zenji's Zenki. It's the title of that piece in the Shobogenzo, and Zenki means the whole works, or dynamic working. All things are moving. The idea, life is a verb, it's an action, it's an activity. And I thought this was a wonderful metaphor. While sailing along by using, this is an image of the person is in a boat and has the oar or the pole and is propelling it. While sailing along by using the vessel's rudder and pole, I do not exist apart from the boat. And the boat functions as a vehicle because I am riding in it. At just such a moment, life makes me what I am, and my activity fulfills the life of all things that contribute to this fleeting instant of the boat's movement. So this is, I think, it's a metaphor and an expression of the realization of undivided activity. That life's actions action is not divided into subjects and objects. And I went back and read it multiple times, and I actually tried to rewrite it and write in activities in my own life into that little paragraph. So if I'm riding my bicycle, I am not separate from the bicycle, that idea. You know, if I'm washing the pots after dinner, maybe I'm not separate from the pot. You know, it's a pot because I'm cleaning it. This idea. So I think it's fair to say that for Dogen, this very moment, no matter how trivial or mundane we might think it is, or that activity, is equally unexplainably real and dignified. The moment is dignified. So whether I'm, you know, riding my bicycle up Mount Lemon, or whether I'm doing the dishes, or I'm fixing the flat tire, or whatever I'm doing, or caring for a loved one who has dementia, or on the cushion in sesshin, Dogen says, the moment often offers one bright pearl. So, I hope this has been, you know, helpful to you in some way. I'm not sure how to end these. Never know how to end this. But I'd like to share with you a poem to finish, to conclude this. And I remember back when, years ago, when Hojo-san trained at Heiji, I remember seeing pictures of a Heiji, and if you've not seen pictures of it or know of it, it's a magnificent place. But in snow, like, you know, a couple of feet of snow. And this is a poem by Billy Collins. And it's called Shoveling Snow with Buddha. In the usual iconography of the temple or the local walk, you would never see him doing such a thing, tossing the dry snow over a mountain of his bare round shoulder, his hair tied in a knot, a model of concentration. Sitting is more his speed, if that is the word for it, for what he does or does not do. Even the season is wrong for him. In all its manifestations, it is not warm, is it not warm or slightly humid? Is it not implied by his serene expression, that smile so wide it wraps itself around the waist of the universe? But here we are, working our way down the driveway, one shovel at a time. We toss the light powder into the clear air. We feel the cold mist on our faces. And with every heave, we disappear and become lost to each other in these sudden clouds of our own making. These fountain bursts of snow. This is so much better than a sermon in church, I say out loud. But Buddha keeps on shoveling. This is the true religion, the religion of snow and sunlight and winter geese barking in the sky, I say. But he's too busy to hear me. He's thrown himself into shoveling snow as if it were the purpose of existence, as if the sign of a perfect life were a clear driveway you could back the car down easily and drive off into the vanities of the world with the broken heater fan and a song on the radio. All morning long, we worked side by side. Me with my commentary, and he inside his generous pocket of silence, until the hour is nearly noon and snow is piled high all around us. Then I hear him speak. After this, he asks, can we go inside and play cards? Certainly, I reply, and I will heat some milk and bring cups of hot chocolate to the table while you shuffle the deck and our boots stand dripping by the door. Ah, says the Buddha, lifting his eyes and leaning for a moment on his shovel before he drives the thin blade again deep into the glittering white snow.